Skateboards break all the time. How can some boards be so weak and other boards be so strong? What's in the skateboard? How much force goes on? How durable should a skateboard be to be considered a professional quality skateboard? My name's Tim Pumarda. You're in the research and development room of the company called NHS. You know us by our brands like Santa Cruz Skateboards, Independent Trucks, Crux Trucks. R&D stands for research and development. Not only do you have to design it, you have to test. When skateboarders land on a board, they impart a lot of force to the board. This is a common break in skateboarding, and it's one of the most frustrating things you can do is set up your skateboard, get it all grip taped up, and then have the board snap prematurely. Well, we set up a real-world test so we could simulate the landing of a trick. So we've got an impactor that lands on the tail, just like when you land with your foot on the tail and one foot right behind the front truck. We'll pick up a 92-pound weight and drop it 8 inches repeatedly on the tail over and over again. We're able to separate out the good boards from the bad boards, the great boards from the good boards, and we look at what did we use to generate the great boards, and we always aim for that type of wood, those types of raw materials. The decks are made out of maple veneer. 7 layers of 1/16 inch thick veneer. So here you've got something that can flex when you're bending against its grain. But it's also very weak, and so if you bend it with its grain, it breaks and falls apart. That's why we have to layer 5 layers going from nose to tail and 2 layers running side to side. When you glue it all together, it won't split in any particular direction. You get a board that is very stiff, yet flexible, so it gives you all the properties you need to be able to control the skateboard. I built this machine. It's a custom machine. This is the only machine of its kind in the world. It's actually quite famous. A lot of the skateboard magazines will come down and they like to see us test skateboards. The other thing that this machine can do for us is it can actually measure pop. Anyone who skateboards knows pop is that one thing you can't measure, but you just know inside if a skateboard has pop or if it doesn't. If it doesn't have pop, the board doesn't ollie well, it doesn't crack when you hit the tail, it just seems soggy and saggy, and the boards finally break. But a board with great pop does all the tricks you want to do, and it lasts a long time. Well, this is the only machine in the world that can actually measure pop. As the anvil drops, we can measure its position and record it on a computer. What it gives us is a graph of what I call the heartbeat of a board, or pop. And the board that has the highest wave curve gives you the most pop. It's really easy. If a board is saggy and doesn't have any pop, that curve is very low and drawn out. It doesn't have a lot of life. But a board with great pop, man, that anvil's snapping up and down, and it's literally recording the kinetic energy of how much energy is stored and flung up into the air on that anvil, and how far the board deflects every time the anvil comes down. At 16 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I wanted to build skateboards. And I said, well, if math can be a part of skateboarding, I have no problem with math. So in a heartbeat, I went from just being a professional skateboarder to become an industrial designer. And so for 30 years now, that's what I've done. I fully plan on doing this for another 20 years. It's that much fun. When I see a skateboarder riding something that I made, I created, I used my skills to design, you know, that's pretty cool.